Not sure if I'm live yet, but let's just mount that down there. Am I live? Let's have a look. Got my little laptop here. Oh, I am live. Wow, that's quite scary. Got my little laptop here. Oh, wow. I've got to turn the sound off because that's a bit delayed. Oh. Hey everyone, this is my first YouTube live, and I must say I'm a little bit nervous because although I've done a lot of Instagram lives, this seems like a much bigger audience. And yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna, basically the format of this is gonna be me having a couple of drinks and chatting to you guys and girls about various subjects. As you can see, I'm going to be live between 6:30 and 7:30 UK time. My Instagram is Joe Achilles, in case you didn't know. Follow me on Instagram. It's always a good way of keeping up to date with what I'm doing at sort of more in live sort of status, as opposed to YouTube's always a couple of weeks delayed. And make sure you stay at home and support and big up the NHS. And the control and shift. Obviously, all things are relative at the moment. Oh, that is my mic, which is just showing. I've just done about half an hour on the exercise bike, so excuse me if I'm sweating a little bit. Right, so let's have a look through some of these comments and subjects. I don't really have any structure to this video whatsoever. I was meant to plan something today, but I've been too busy editing a Q&A video that I actually shot about 10 days ago, which should be on the channel pretty soon. So I'm going to try and avoid answering any of those questions if they come up, because obviously they're going to come up in the actual video. Right, so let's have a look through here. I hope everyone is doing well. Firstly, maybe I should just touch upon that. I'm no expert as I'm sure most of you aren't on COVID-19, but what I can say is I hope everyone is well and keeping staying at home and staying away from others and just behaving themselves, really, because the sooner and the better we behave ourselves, the more likely we are to get out of this sooner. How long are we going to be in this? Who knows? How long is a piece of string? You hear so much stuff online. That's a problem with the media, with everything. Obviously, so much of it is true at the moment, but there's a lot of BS going around as well. So yeah, we just need to sort of keep our heads down and crack on with whatever we're doing. If we're fortunate enough to be employed by companies that aren't going under, then that's great, because you've still got a wage coming, even if you are at home looking after your kids or doing multitasking. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are obviously going to be suffering big time in terms of financial stuff. So keep my fingers crossed for everyone, and including myself. My chauffeuring business is dead. It has been for months. So yeah, well, it might be the last year that I run that, but let's see. Anyway, let's get onto more positive subjects and talk about cars. Wow, lots and lots of comments coming through. First one that I can see, Hugh from Wales. How's it going, Hugh? Hope you're well, mate, and your family. Evolve Automotive, man like Joe, how's it going? I'm assuming that's Imran. Big up yourself. Check out Evolve Automotive's YouTube channel, guys, if you haven't already. It's a great time to indulge in a lot of content, and their stuff's really good. Yeah, lots of stuff going on there. And actually, a big shout out to Evolve, because they are using their 3D printers to currently make masks for the NHS, which I just think is the coolest and best thing ever. So hats off to you guys for that. And yeah, make sure, I think you should go and give them a follow just for that. Right, let me have a sip of beer. Okay, so what's going on? Relini's sending a kiss. Relini, big up yourself. So pleased. Well, I can talk about it because it's on your Instagram. Relini's dad actually went into hospital about a week ago with COVID-19. Obviously, we feared the worst, but he's out and recovering at home now. So there is. I think we need to start spreading some good news stories like that, because that's, it's great to see when the rest of the news is very morbid. But anyway, enough about COVID-19, Joe. Stop. Okay, so from Twisted Seven Soul, I know you've driven the Audi R8 V10 Performance, but would you consider buying one? A very good question. Well, firstly, I certainly couldn't afford to buy one. Even a used sort of V10 Plus, I could probably just about finance one, but the running costs and stuff would be horrendous, and they're just not practical for me at all. The only issue I have with the R8s, I love them. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but like many Audis, they're not really suited for people that are much taller than 6 foot, 6'1", and the driving position in the R8 is awkward for someone of my sort of 6'4" stature. So so it probably wouldn't be the sports car or supercar of choice for me. I love the car, I love the sound, I love the fact that they've still got the NA V10 in it. Brilliant, but it just unfortunately I don't fit properly in them. So it just, it wouldn't be on my short list of cars to get. But if I was a bit shorter, it probably would be, because it's just a great usable car. Okay, I'm looking down here. Brewdog from John Allen, absolutely, yeah. Beer of choice at the moment. Very good indeed. And I've actually got a big glass of wine sort of just out of shot over there, just for, just to keep me going, so I don't have to stand up. And hopefully I'll become more entertaining as I have a few more drinks. Those of you that follow me on Instagram and know I've watched some of my older drunken Instagram live uploads, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to try and behave myself a little bit on this one, because it's on the YouTube. Anyway, how much is 6'4" in the metric world? 193. Fizz 007 asked that. Wow, lots and lots of questions coming in. Joe from Scotland, what's your perfect two-car garage? From Andrew M. Hey, Andrew M from Scotland, I hope you're well, mate. Excuse me if I miss messages, by the way, because they are absolutely flying, and I'm not keeping on top of them, so just have to keep asking them. My perfect two-car garage, wow, that's a difficult one. It would have to be one of them would be my dream car, so a GT3 Touring manual. That's number one. The other car would have to be something like maybe the new or the current RS6 or an M5 competition. Yeah, it would be those two. Nothing too ridiculous. Well, they are kind of ridiculous, but they're not like, I never crave after like hypercars or even supercars. I personally, I can't see the benefits of owning one unless you've got loads of money, or unless you've got a channel like someone like Tim, where you need them to keep your audience sort of coming. But I just supercars don't get me wrong, I love driving them, but they just you can't really use a supercar on the road to its full potential without getting in trouble, as I know very well. Moving on. So what do we got here? Okay, so let's have a look. I've already asked. I'm going to try and get some questions from other people. I'll keep going back to the same people. From George Oxley, good question. How do you think COVID-19 will affect second-hand market looking to sell in a few months? I think a lot of people have been asking me that on social media. Again, I don't know. I'm not an expert in this, but I would predict that the second-hand market at the moment is pretty soft, and it will continue to fall. The longer this goes on, it will continue to dip. Yeah, let's see. I think the longer it dips, the longer it goes on, the bigger the dip's going to be. Especially sort of, I think cars in the sort of 20 to 50, 60k price bracket are really going to suffer. Cars more expensive than that, the rich are always going to be rich. They're not going to be too affected. Like everything, unfortunately, in life, people that have got loads of money don't tend to get affected. Obviously, there are singular cases, but yeah, it's going to be those all those PCP deals, all those McLarens that are next to nothing. They are going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. It'll be interesting. Let's see. Okay. It's from Super Gim what are the running costs of an RS6 C7? Good question. I mean, I don't know because I've never owned one, but I mean, being a German, being an Audi, they're going to be pretty reliable, but there's always a couple of lemons out there. I know the C7, as far as I know, the only major problems they have is the diffs braking, but that's usually cars that have been heavily tuned, a bit like Calvin Cardari's one. That was a classic when Ricky was driving his car. That was one of my favourite video clips, I think. Watching the two-face expressions. But yeah, I think they're pretty robust. But like anything that's producing 600 plus horsepower or 600 odd horsepower, it's putting a lot of and something that's 2 tons. It's putting a lot of weight and strain on everything like the wheels, the tires, the suspension components, the chassis, the brakes, the bushing, everything. So it's gonna be, if it's done 50, 60,000 hard miles, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to go wrong down the track. So I think what you've got to always do with used cars, I get asked this a lot about like, oh, look, I've just found an X5 and it's 10 grand, or a Range Rover that's 10, 15 grand, that's 5, 6 years old, has done a few miles. What you got to remember is, what I always say to people is, although it might be 10, 15, 20 grand now, and you might be like, well, that's amazing. And it is amazing value for the amount of metal you're getting. But that car was once upon a time £100,000 or whatever it was. So the bills are going to reflect that. So yeah, it's almost worse in a way than buying something new, because if you're buying a new car, it's going to be warranted. If you're buying a £100,000 car used and it goes wrong and it's not in warranty, then you're going to end up with a 10 grand bill for a new gearbox and clutch or something. So it's a difficult one. And even things like tires on an SUV, a sports SUV, something a bit tasty. Sometimes tires are 400 or 500 quid each. So you've got to factor that in, and they get through tires because they're heavy. So always factor that in. I think when you're buying something that's quite tasty, powerful and used, there's always going to be, you're not going to save on servicing and parts. You're still going to be paying that, of which the person would have when the car was new. Anyway, okay, so 250 people watching. Okay, a little bit nervous. Anyway, I'm not really. I just need another sip of beer, some Dutch courage. So what we got? What else we got? In fact, I'll move that over so you can just see my little message there. Almost. Anyway. Okay, next question. Let's have a look. From Divad. You got to drive a manual M3 CSL. Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to that brilliant Carfaction. Well, there's been a couple actually where Henry's been out in that converted car. I'd love to. In fact, a good friend of mine, Fast Pork on Instagram, guy called Joel, lives in Australia, and he's got an Audi UR Quattro, but he's also got an M3 CS, an E46, so not the CSL, the CS, and that did actually, I think, come in manual or DSG, but he converted his DSG to a manual about 2 years ago. So a long time. Well, I don't know when these guys did that CSL, but same thing, same conversion. I think it's so cool because essentially, not DSG, SMG. Essentially, the SMG box is an automated manual box, so it's not as complicated as you might think. Says me, that's got no idea about mechanicals, but that's according to my mate Joel and a few others. So yeah, really cool. I'd love to drive that. I've never driven a CSL, and I've been offered one a few times online, which is amazing. And that's just what's so cool about YouTube, is being offered something like a CSL or whatever it might be to drive is amazing. Yes, right. Next. Okay. So. I can't even say I can't even pronounce that name, but it converted CSL is sacrilege. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's sacrilege that BMW didn't make a manual version in the first place. I think that's not messing with the car in any sense. I think it's one of the most pure cars anyway, the CSL. So converting it back to a manual is about the best thing you can do to it. That gearbox isn't bad when you're on it, but it's a terrible gearbox otherwise. I don't understand why people get so uptight about converting certain things. There's some things that you shouldn't be doing, like putting a wing on the back of an M2 competition that doesn't do anything error-wise. But no, I'm joking. There might be people on here with that wing. But I think changing a CSL gearbox to a manual, to me, is brilliant. It's great. Figure Wolf. Greetings from Austria. How's it going? I hope you're doing well out there. From Sad Ali Shaikay. It's gone. 1 second. I need to get back here. Apologies about number one. I'm not my English, like spelling and pronunciations are not my strong point. So excuse me if I. But I think it's Saeed or Said Ali Shaki, BMW M2 CS or BMW M340i M Sport or 340. I mean, it'd be an M2 CS. I haven't driven one, but I mean, I'd have a normal M2 comp over a 340i. So M2 CS for sure. Let's find someone that I can pronounce, that I'm able to actually read. From Dean, Joe, tell us about your early days and what you got into cars, chauffeuring, stay at home, NHS. Good question, mate. So, I mean, I'm going to do a video about sort of my past, because I've got a dark past. No, I haven't. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime, and I never really found my feet, and I'm still scrabbling around. But I basically have a bit of a fashion background. Worked in the fashion industry for a while. Was a bit sick of that because it's just a very bitchy industry to be in. I didn't fit in too well, and I definitely wasn't passionate about it. So I ended up finding a bit of a niche hole in the market for chauffeuring. So I set up my little chauffeuring company with some of the models that I knew very well, or the super models that I knew very well. And that allowed me to step away from working a 9-to-5 job. Well, it was never 9 to 5. It was more like 9. It was more like 9 till 8 till 9 every day of the week. And then, so I set up the chauffeuring thing, but the chauffeuring business is a very seasonal, it's a very on-off. It's typically self-employed. Anyone that's self-employed will know what I mean. You're either flat out working or you're at home twiddling your thumbs. So that's when the YouTube thing really kind of started, I guess. I started, back in 2013, got my original M135i and started just doing little silly videos, only because people were kind of asking about stuff on baby BMW at the time. So I decided to start putting them on YouTube. Got a much better response than I thought. There was the occasional bell end, but you get that, especially forums. They seem to breed bell ends. There should be like a bell end section on forums. So I started doing that, and now I shuffle both. But the last 6 months, to be fair, I've put a lot more time, effort, work into YouTube. That's another video that I am going to shoot imminently, is what goes into making a lot of YouTube videos, because there's a lot of work, and I discuss this a lot with Steph and Petrol Paired, and obviously Ricky Living Up Fast, and Raz from Remove Before Race. All these guys, there's a lot of work that goes into making a lot. Not all videos. This one, nothing. I've just got a camera set up, and to be fair, it took me about an hour to figure out this setup. Believe it or not, because you can't just use a laptop, because the camera on laptops are terrible. But setting up a video to a decent quality is there's a lot of preparation, a lot of effort, a lot of money, a lot of everything that goes into it. But I'm getting that back now, which is great. What the hell? Someone's just 1 second. What the hell does that mean? Kevin P's just given me $100. What the? Am I allowed to swear? What? No way. Oh my God. That is ridiculous. I can't actually believe it. Oh my God. Wow. Well, Kevin P, I just can't believe that. I actually cannot believe it. Love your channel and all you do with the other YouTubers. Cheers from the US. I have a 2020 Alpine White manual M2C. Keep up the great work, and I hope your business picks up once all this craziness is over. Wow, Kevin, I just honestly I can't thank you enough. I'm actually quite emotional. Wow, that is cool. Thanks, mate. That's quite special. $100. Jesus Christ. Okay. But maybe I should do more of these lives. Anyway, get yourself together, Joe. You're on live YouTube. Wow, that's amazing. Thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate that. That's wow. I'm gonna have to screenshot that just to remind myself down the track. Gee whizzle. Okay, back in the room, Joe. Back in the room. So moving on. Rellini, absolute bellend. There you go, mate. Yes. Let's get back to date with questions. Okay. Oh, that's a good question from Super Gim again. How fast did you get to your first 1,000 subs? I think it took me about a year. I started my YouTube channel, like a couple of years before that, but to be fair, I was like, I just set it up. I can't remember why, to put a video up of something. I think I've still got all my early videos, so you can kind of go back and check it out. But yeah, I think it took about a year to get that first 1,000 subs. And that was hard. But I remember it being so rewarding. I remember getting to 200, I remember getting 500, I remember getting 800, because I get all these Facebook reminders, and I kept posting them on Facebook at the time, because I don't think I even had Instagram. And then 1,000 was just like, wow, that was a milestone. And it is hard. That's the hardest bit. And I remember listening to people talking about that when I was starting. There was various YouTubers that would talk about how they got started, and everyone, including people like Casey Neistat. Okay, Casey might have said it, getting to 10K was the hardest, but it's that initial interaction. But I've still got, I'm still thankful to have a lot of those original 1,000 subscribers watching my stuff, and that's kind of what's so good. And I'm just so grateful for the support, and that it's not so much the support or the size of the channel. The size of the channel is going off this year, which is great, because that's what is important with brands. Unfortunately, a lot of brands, again, this is another video that I'm going to talk about soon, but you're competing with a lot of fakes out there, and you're also competing with a lot of people that have got big numbers, but their audience and their interaction's pretty poor. But unfortunately, a lot of brands only see the number, so they look at the number, say the number of subs or the number of Instagram followers. By Instagram followers, I mean Instagram accounts, there's so many fakes out there, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's not even, I can't even laugh at it anymore, because it's just beyond. But again, that's another video. But yeah, but I've always been proud of, and in fact I was talking to Petrolped about this last night, the same with him, same with Steph, and in fact Raz, and a lot of other people, obviously Ricky Living Life Fast. I think our followings have always been very strong and loyal, and that's, I'd rather have one loyal follower, like someone that's actually enjoys my videos, watches my videos, might go out and buy a car or whatever it might be off the back of my videos. I'd rather have one of them than sort of 10 people that just comment first on a video all the time, or I'm just not. They're just numbers. Those people are completely useless to brands, but. Unfortunately, that's why. And also I think YouTube is still, the demographic for YouTube is still quite young, so it's getting older and older as more and more people discover it. People like my parents, people like whoever it might be, more people use YouTube as a platform now, but it's still quite a young audience. and I think that's why you see these 7 or 8 year olds that are just killing it on YouTube, because they've got, I'm sure you all know, you've got friends or maybe your own kids, and they all sit around watching YouTube. That's all they do now, is literally watch YouTube. So yeah, I think you'd be such a baller as a kid or a teenager with a YouTube channel, and some of the earnings these people make are just ridiculous. But that's where the audience is at the moment. But it's changing. The older generation are understanding what YouTube is and use it more. So that's great. Anyway, right, let's catch up with some questions. See, I get carried away in talking. I've almost been doing this half an hour already. Wow. From George Oxley, will there be another gas station episode? Good question, George. I would love there to be. It's just really difficult. Obviously, at the moment, it's impossible. But yeah, post COVID-19, I would love there to be. It's just very difficult, sort of getting Tony, getting the showroom, getting me, getting the cameras. It is. I think we tried too hard to start with. We tried to make it into a Top Gear episode on £20 budget. So yeah, I think down the track we just need to do more of a relaxed, because I would personally love it. It was great having everyone on, and it's great having Raz and Sid and whoever else on the board there. But I'd like to do it in a way that we get the audience more involved and people a bit like this. Although I'm missing loads of questions, but actually more questions and interaction from the audience and people around, because sometimes I just get sick of my own voice, and and there's only so many subjects and stuff we can talk about, but it's always nice reading new comments. Okay, that's a good question from G. Bart. BMW X3M received a poor review. Does BMW ever follow up with you afterwards regarding the comments? Unfortunately not. You never get really any feedback from manufacturers about anything video wise. Even if you send videos in that you're proud of doing, you very rarely, if any, get anything back, which is hard, because when you're a one-man band and you're putting everything into something and you get nothing back, and it's selling cars as well, it's difficult. But yeah, the X3M, I think a lot of people misunderstood my videos with the X3M. I think it's an amusing car. I think it's an absolute character and a riot. But to me, it doesn't work in the UK, at least where I live, because I'm surrounded by terrible roads, and it is so stiff. And it's not, unless you're really pushing on and you can break through this, a bit like a lot of modern M cars, to be fair. When you start pushing them hard and loading them up, the suspension starts working and the ride's not bad. But the problem with the X3M or the X3M competition that we get in this country only, not the X3M that a lot of other countries get, which I'm sure would work better in the UK because it would be less stiffly sprung. The problem with the X3M in this country is it's just too stiff unless you're pushing on. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible car, and the problem with it is they didn't sell any for the first 3 months, or whatever it was, 2 months. I think they sold about 5 in the whole of the UK, and then they threw them away, didn't they? These deals, they were like $5.99 a month, and at $5.99 a month, I mean, you would have to be mad not to buy one. But that's cheaper than an M2 competition. M2 comp's 50 grand, they were 80 odd. So as soon as that happened, every man and their dog bought one, understandably, because I know if I was a bit younger, even if I'd driven it and I was like, I'm not sure, of course I'm going to go out and buy one. £599 a month for a 500 horsepower, 85 grand SUV. I mean, what's not to love? So suddenly everyone was buying them, and then everyone became quite defensive over them. But there are people that I know that are extremely good drivers that have also brought one, like Ollie Milroy, who's a racing car driver, and obviously he knows more about handling dynamics and car. He's a pro, and he's got one. In fact, him and his missus have got one. And so yeah, I'm not, like I'm saying, I'm not arguing the point. That's just my point of view. And in terms of, do BMW get upset or do they feed back about that? Not really. I don't hear anything back. And I think if I wasn't as honest as I am, okay, some things I can't be brutally honest with because I'm not going to say something is shit if it's shit. But then that's why I try and only get my hands on cars that I'm actually interested in. So then I'm either slightly disappointed or I really like it and it lived up to my expectation. I'm not going to go and get my hands on something that I'm not particularly interested in because I'm probably not going to like it. And I'd rather not give a really dismal review of something because I just don't think that's right. But yeah, it's a difficult one because I think the space that we're in at the moment, it's like, what am I? Am I a journalist? No, I'm not. I'm not qualified. You know, I'm nothing like some of these top, like someone like Henry Catchpole. You know, he's an absolute legend. His stuff is amazing. He's so articulate. Everything he does, I idolize his stuff. I think he's brilliant. And yes, I get to go on the same launches as some of him, but it doesn't mean that I'm a journalist. I'm just someone who's made this platform work for me. And next thing, I'm getting invited on these brilliant launches. But am I a influencer? Well, I guess I influence sales, but I'm not. I hate the term influencer. I hate the term YouTuber. I don't like any of those, mostly because a lot of other people, namely journalists, don't like YouTubers or don't tend to like YouTubers or influencers. So it's a difficult space. It's like, what am I? I don't know what I am. But you just got to try and sort of make it work. But the problem is, as an influencer or whatever, if you get invited on some of these launches, like a famous one that kind of got shut down, doesn't get talked about too much, is I think it was Sam from Seen Through Glass went on the McLaren launch a couple of years ago, and I love Sam's videos. I think he is brilliant. Everything he does, he never ever releases a shit video. They're always top notch, top quality. Whether it's a boring video or whether it's a really interesting video, he'll always put full effort in. So fair play. But I know he did. I think there's a McLaren 720, and he just said that I don't get this car like this. It's not. It's too much or whatever. And he was totally honest. And to be fair, he's totally right. Like the 720 is probably one of the best supercars on the planet. But it's just too much, you know. It is too much, and I think off the back of that, he then got, you know, he got blacklisted from McLaren or whatever for a small amount of time, and I hope and I think he's back there now. But I just think that's the danger we've got is you can't be too honest with things sometimes because you're afraid that you won't get invited back. But then that's not right. So it's like it's a weird space to be in because you've just got to tread a bit delicately in certain areas. But like I said, I work with brands like with BMW, who I'm obviously very passionate about, and Audi, who I've always been passionate about as well. And, you know, I'd love to do some stuff with Mercedes and obviously Porsche. I mean, you know, Porsche, I just dream of Porsches. You know, if I could have one car, it would be a Cayman GT4, as most of you know, or a new 911, 992 or something. I think they're just fantastic. But obviously, but yeah, it's just, you've got to sort of go with whatever you can get. But anyway, right, going back to the questions, because I'm just talking way too much. I'm not drinking enough either. So 1 second, I'm going to upgrade. Dun, 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 dun. Wow, look at that. Here's one I made earlier. Oh, yum. Yum, 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 yum. Right. Okay, so what do we... don't drink unless you're 18 and over. And even then, I don't encourage it. Unless you're stuck inside for 2 weeks going mad. Right. I almost snorted then. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's have a look at some questions. G Ward 135. I wonder if that's Gavin Ward. Have you got any plans, wishes to go to Super Ventura in Sunningdale? I've actually been there a couple of times years ago, and it's actually not far from where I live at all. So I will definitely pop down there once we're allowed back out again. How good's that going to be when we can go back out for drives? Oh, the dream. These simple things in life that we just take for granted. This is all going to make us appreciate life and just normal things. It's like when you are really sick with the cold or with the man flu, and and all you can think about is just like going out for a walk or doing normal things. It's exactly like that now. I think we're all gonna just it's gonna be like, yes. Anyway, motorsport and dream cars. How do you deal with the video that does badly? My video, Petrol Ped, a few weeks ago did very poorly. Very good question. Yes, and that's another great channel, Motorsport and Dream Cars, new channel. It's hard. It's very hard. And I know, in fact, I'm sure Steph won't mind me using him as an example recently. But this year I've been very fortunate, touch wood, everything I posted has pretty much gone pretty well. But last year I had some shockers. And in fact, so Steph's RS7 video, which is honestly one of the best videos I've ever seen, and Steph's effort and time and everything. I mean, I was there. I knew what it was going to be like, and I watched it. I was just like, that's incredible. And that video just completely bombed. Thankfully, it's picking up now. But that makes you, and it made him at the time, feel really, really, really not depressed, but just there's no way of. It's funny, YouTube, when sometimes you post something you think is going to fly and you put in lots of effort, or you tag up with another YouTuber, or you do something, you're like, all the ingredients are there, this is going to get good views, and it just tanks. And other times you put up a video of something like that recent Nardo Grey M340 that I shot with Tony. I actually said it in my recent catch-up video that I think Tony and I spent about half an hour, 40 minutes maybe, preparing and shooting that video. And it took me about 3 hours to edit. And overnight, that video did about 80,000 views, which for me is just ridiculous. I think it was actually beating Nick Pritchard's M3 Touring overnight. And it's just like, why? Like, why is that? I'm not complaining, but why is that done so well? And my RS7 video that I put 3 days of editing in didn't. It's just, sometimes you just don't know, mate. And I think me and Steph talk about this lots off camera, and sometimes you just got to almost ignore it, but it's impossible to, because you've just got to check. You're constantly checking. It's like when you post a picture on Instagram, we all do it, post it, 5 minutes later, how many likes it got. It's that when you post a video on YouTube, it feels great. It's a real, it's like there's a whole process to get that video ready. Even once it's edited, even from there to get it onto YouTube is probably 45 minutes of investing time into, like, getting the right thumbnail and the right title and all of the flags. And there's just so much to get that video ready. And then when it finally goes live, you're watching your YouTube Studio app. And if it goes one way, it's like, yes. But if it doesn't, it's just, it's not great. So, I've just had another $100. This is absolutely insane, guys. So from Nick Satkovich, I hope I pronounced your name right, Nick. I just can't believe this. This is insane. This is unbelievable. Nick, I can't believe it. Wow, this is just, I'm going to have to screenshot this again, just so I can remind myself later. Not that I've had one beer, so it's not like it's going to be like a memory loss thing. But Nick, thank you so much. Hey Joe, love your channel, and especially your cameos with Matt Watson. Oh, Matt Watson, again, someone else I'm very grateful for. And, Matt's a great guy. I love him on and off camera. And he's someone I've always looked up to. And all of a sudden I'm hanging out with Matt and going on launches with him. And then he's invited me to do drag races. And yeah, I mean, he's done a lot for me. Carwell and him have done a lot for me this year. So, well, thank you very much. Cheers from the US. I'm a fellow manual Hockenheim Silver M2 CS owner. There you go. There's a bit of a pattern going on here, along with a few other M cars in my stable. Oh, lucky bugger. Keep up the great work and stay sane. Look forward to your future videos. Well, Nick, I just honestly, I can't believe it. And I'm so grateful again. It sounds like I need to get out to the States and do a little trip, go and visit some M car owners, because there's obviously a massive lot of M cars out there, some really nice ones. Yeah, I should do that. I will. I think next year I'm going to plan a trip to the States for a couple of weeks, do a road trip, maybe hire something stereotypical no, in fact, I'll try and get a press car. No, I'm not going to get a Mustang. I'll speak to BMW America and see if they can give me something tasty and travel around. That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Come and visit people like your good self. Come and have a look at your stable. That's what she said. Hey, see, that wasn't even funny, Joe. That was not even funny, and it was live. Damn. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you so much. Nick and Kevin, you guys all you guys are amazing. But I can't believe this. I'm absolutely blown away. So thank you so much, guys. Really genuinely amazing. Right, moving on. Maybe I should just be live all day long, and if they just keep coming in, I'll be amazing. Anyway, Rolini, dad jokes on point. See, Rolini, I knew you would appreciate it. Okay, let's have it. Okay, let's focus, Joe. Let's focus. Benjamin Ginter, what will be the successor to your M2C? Well, that's actually a question I answer in my up and coming, maybe tomorrow night or maybe Friday night, Q&A video. So I'm not going to give you the answer to that, but thanks for asking the question. I appreciate it. I have answered that in my video that will be coming very soon. Datoda, Joe, M5 F90 competition or E63S? I can only buy one of them. Which one? Oh, I only buy one of them, you poor thing. No, jokes aside. Well, it's hard. I think I have driven an E63S, but only a very short distance. So I haven't hammered one like I have with a M5 competition. Even Raz might agree with me in this one. I honestly think that the M5 F90 competition is as good. If you're talking just driver's car in that segment, it's the quickest by a fraction, I think. But that's not important because they're all quick. They're all quick enough. But it is precise and great. And I think to the point that if I could only have one car, I would have an M5 competition, because you could take it out on a Sunday morning for an absolute hoon, and it would give you what an M2 gives you or whatever. Almost, not, it's still a lot more mass, but so precise. I love it. And yet it's completely livable. It's an M5 underneath. It's a bit stiffer than a normal M5. Whereas the E63S off memory, I mean, okay, the engine, masterpiece, at 4 litre. I mean, any AMG engine, hats off, they do it right. They sound better. AMG kill it with engines. But I think the E63S, from memory, I just found it to be very overly stiff and quite uncomfortable. And I think the seats in the one that I was in, they were quite thin. They were like this, I don't know what Mercedes call them. I don't know if they're optional or what, but the good thing about the M5 and the M5 competition is those seats, they make all the difference. And I think in the M5 competition, although the ride's quite harsh, you're in these incredible seats that are so comfortable and so supportive. I mean, they must weigh about 4.5 tons each because they're so big, but they're amazing. So my quick answer, my long answer to that would be M5 F90 competition. But, you couldn't really go wrong, I wouldn't think. If you're buying new, then maybe wait a little bit, because I think the M5 is about to get the facelifts, or maybe it has already, I'm not too sure. I've just had some more money from Paul 1567. This is amazing. Mate, you don't have to be sorry. I mean, like if the fiver had just come through, and yeah, it's still. I just can't believe that people are doing this. It's crazy. I've never wanted to set up any kind of GoFundMe page thing or anything like that, because I just haven't. I think a couple of years ago I talked about it, and I just didn't want any of the negativity around it. And it is difficult. I get sponsored by. I'm fortunate enough to, obviously I do a lot with BOTB now, thanks to my good buddy Patrick and Represent Talent. But I try to not do too much of that, because obviously then it becomes a bit transparent and silly for BOTB, for myself. So you've got to kind of space things out. But at the end of the day, if I don't do sponsored videos every so often, I find it very hard to support the channel. This is just a super bonus. So so Paul 1567, sorry, not the £100, but got an M340D on order, so need every pound at the moment. That's great to hear. I've been asked a lot. I don't know if you're one of the guys that asked me on Instagram or maybe on here, but I've been asked a lot about the M340D. I haven't driven one, but in fact, I still haven't driven an X3M 40D, I don't think, which is crazy. But it's got all of the ingredients that the brilliant M340i's got, plus, more efficiency, more torque. Probably going to feel quicker in everyday driving, in real life driving, whatever the expression is. But yeah, absolute mega cars. Keen to hear how you get on with that. So try and keep me posted. By whatever means. Whoa, what's going on here? Hey! I'm becoming Patrick. They're talking of the devil. Becoming Patrick has sent me £2. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. He'll probably add it to his invoice tomorrow that he's sending me. But anyway, I'm only sending this out so Joe reads it. No, I can't get into the habit of that. Thanks, mate. Thank you, everyone, so far. Thanks for all the engagement. Thanks for people watching. We're over 300 people now, which is awesome. Okay, let's get some other questions. So many questions coming in. Gavin Cook, love your channel, mate. Great entertainment. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Gavin. Thanks for watching. I wouldn't have a channel if it wasn't for you guys, so appreciate it. Steve Leonard. Hi, Joe. I8 or 840D X-Drive. For me, it'd have to be the 840D. I think it's a brilliant car. I think it is actually probably the best 8 Series, in the sense that it's the one that Steph and I drove down to Geneva. Super efficient, fast enough, amazing Grand Tourer, just brilliant. i8's a great car, but it's getting on now. It really is. So, The real Patrick from Talk Chasers. Is he Talk Chasers anymore? I never know. Thanks, buddy. $4.99 from you. He was too tight to leave me a fiver, clearly. Thanks for the America trip. Count me in for the America trip next year. I promise I won't forget my passport. Yes, mate. That was for any of you that, honestly, if you want some entertainment, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, although if I remove some ribs, I potentially could, but 1 second. I'm not going to try and blow my own trumpet, so yeah, don't get too excited, or don't turn off. But yeah, the Petrolhead Tours videos section I put on my playlist in my YouTube channel. There's some crackers on there, and especially last year with Patrick, the edits he did. There's some funny times. But yeah, it all started when he came to my house. We were just about to leave. Honestly, I spend my life being slightly late. My other half would say that I'm very late, but I'm slightly late everywhere, except for obviously when I'm in my chauffeuring job. I'm always early. But Patrick, he was late. He was very late, and he eventually turned up and, all right, mate, let's take some pictures. Let's get all this. Yeah. Get in the car, and we're cruising out my village, and I literally turned to him almost as a joke. Have you got your Patrick? Have you got your passport? No, and his face, I knew straight away that he wasn't joking or bullshitting because his face, he went pale. And we were already late to go down to our ferry in Portsmouth, which was taking us over to Spain. And I think there's one every day or every 2 days. Oh my God. I mean, it was stress, but he ended up, anyway, watch the videos because it's brilliant. And it's clearly not staged because we just wouldn't do that because it would cost an arm and a leg. Whoa. Rellini. Oh, 1 second. Whoa. Loads. Okay. Guys, calm down with the donations. This is getting ridiculous. Steve Ramsey. Sorry, I'm like Paul. I've got an M340i Touring with a pan roof. Yes, big up the pan roofs. How good are pan roofs? I love them. Absolutely love. What was I in the other day that said it had a pan roof? Didn't. Oh, RS7. Yeah. Another reason to go for an RS6. RS7's pan roof. I'm sure they list it as a pan roof. It's not really a pan roof. It's just like a bigger sunroof. Whereas, yeah. Anyway, M340i Touring, pan roof. Ah, yes. Stuck at the UK Oh, actually, did I speak to you, Steve? I think I might have talked to you on Instagram the other day. Or someone else has got an M340i Touring stuck at the UK distribution centre. That is bad, but I think if you've got a car to get around in at the moment, it's not the bad thing. It's not bad at all, in the sense that as much as you'd love to go outside and lick your car occasionally, because surely you could do that without getting in trouble at the moment. Actually, no, don't lick anything. That's probably a bad idea. But, go inside and lick the seats because no one's going to be sitting there. But as much as you'd love to be doing that, you'd probably rather that you wait and get your car on a September reg or whatever and actually enjoy it, because I couldn't think of anything. Well, I can't at the moment. I've got my M2 competition out there and I've got an RS4, that lovely red one. And I can't really drive it. I can drive one to the shops and back once a week. And that's all I've been doing. And it's just been like, and even then I'm driving sensibly because the last thing I want to do is have an accident and put more pressure on the NHS and everything else. So yeah, just I think almost, Steve, be thankful that you haven't got it, as long as you've got some wheels to get around them. But thank you for the £5. Bad Luck Gamer gave me a £5 with no comment. Just like Bad Luck Gamer is a baller. Just there you go. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it. Okay, so Steve Leonard, following up from that last question, 840D wife loves the i8. Well, it might be the i8 then. I don't know. I don't know how the relationship goes. Yeah, I mean, the 840D, I'm surprised. Has she been in both? Because I'm sure if she sat in both cars, she would surely prefer the interior of the 840D over the i8, because the i8's looking a bit sort of older now. Okay, BMW Gurung. Hi, Joe. M340i or 540i Saloon? Good question. Personally, M340i, I think the new 3 Series is marginally smaller than the 5, so you're not losing too much practicality there. The 540i is a great car. It's got they both got B58s, but you couldn't get a different tune. The one that's in the 540i is a very chilled, it's almost like an old school NA feeling 6-cylinder, because it's pushing around 2 tons of car, so it's fast, but it's not like, wow, this thing's quick. It just goes about its business. And whereas the M340i, honestly, that car, I mean, I get to drive a lot of quick cars, and the M340i is surprisingly quick. Like, it feels very quick. It feels 25% quicker than a 540i. So yeah, for me, M340i, but it depends. If you want that extra bit of practicality, that extra bit of comfort, then the 540i is going to be the one. There you go. Bad Luck Gamer, you have commented underneath. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it, really do. You say £5, not much, mate. It's everything helps at the moment, and I'm just so grateful. I mean, I'm blown away by everything. This is just ridiculous. Rellini, 79 pence. Oh, that's classic. 79 pence. I mean, how's he even, not even 99 pence, not even a 99 flake from the ice cream van that's not there because he's not doing any business, unfortunately, either because of COVID-19. But 79 pence, that's just brilliant. That's amazing. That's like going to a restaurant and getting, I don't know, £100 bill and tipping him like 50 pence. Oh, Rolini, I know you've just done that for shits and giggles because I love you, mate. You're one of my best friends. So another Dan Hawks, have a beer on me, big man. See you on the flip side in this crazy world. Thank you very much, Dan. I really appreciate that, mate. Yeah, big up yourself. Thank you very much. This was not intended to be some kind of money making live chat, but it's certainly turned into one. So I really appreciate it. Right, let's lock out a few more questions because there's still somehow over 300 of you watching this, which is fantastic. So thanks, especially you guys that have been here since the beginning. These live chats do fly by. Okay, so let's have a look at some questions. From Michael, hey Joe, how about, this one took my eye. Hey Joe, how about an F90 M5 Estate? I mean, BMW, wake up, come on. How can they justify building this is me talking very openly at the moment, and I'm sure 99% of people that work within BMW will appreciate and agree with me on this. How can BMW justify building a 2 Series Gran Coupe, but not justify building something like an M3 or an M5 Touring? They must have, and a few people have messaged me about this, and I do kind of secretly, it's a conspiracy theory, but they must have some kind of secret agreement with maybe Audi, where Audi don't build fast RS saloons and BMW don't build fast M wagons, because otherwise, what are they doing? Their excuse back in the day, for those of you who don't know, BMW's excuse back in the day was always that markets like China and America, which are obviously two huge markets for any car manufacturers, especially the Germans, have no demand for Tourings, estates, wagons, whatever you want to call them. But from what I see online, I disagree with that, because I think the Americans would love, firstly, they love the hatchbacks. They always ask about the M135s and the M140s. And I'm sorry, Audi have just, for the first time, started selling the RS6 in America. Well, that kind of tells me that there is an audience out there. So it does frustrate me, Michael, that they don't build one. And I'm hoping that Nick Pritchard, who built that fantastic M3 Touring, looks at either building, the new M3 in a Touring or an F90 or something, because that would just be mega. But Alpina, big up Alpina. I'm going to try and get back in there with these guys, with Alpina. They do the B5 Touring. So maybe it's kind of some kind of gentleman agreement with Alpina. Maybe that's what it is. Wow, the lights have just gone on in my head. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, anyway, moving on. I love that. Bad Luck Gamers just straight in there now. Figured that if you pay me, you get the question read out. I promise that's not how it is, people. I'm trying to answer everyone. What's your current favorite Audi? Good question. Probably the one that's parked outside, the RS4. It's just been facelifted. Is it any better than the pre-facelift? No, not really. I think the front end's not as nice. The fact they got rid of the MMI controller, etc. I'm just going into too much detail here, but it's still that much of a good car that it's my favorite Audi, I'd say. RS6 is great. It's a lottery car. Yes, brilliant. Give me an RS6, but I think value for money, it's still a lot of money, but the RS4 is brilliant. I have to say, and I've only driven it in Tenerife on perfect roads, as some of you might have seen, the RS Q8 is very good. Very, very good. It's very good. I mean, it shouldn't be good, and I shouldn't like it because it's a big, silly, heavy SUV. But wow, that car, its ability is just mind blowing. So that's not my favorite, because I could never say that an SUV was my favorite in the lineup. But I'd have to say the RS4, I think, is my favorite. It's my favorite. Yeah. I really like the TTRS as well. I know the TT has been tarnished with a bit of a bad image over the years, but I think it's a brilliant car. Okay, a lot of it's down to its heart and that brilliant 2.5 5-cylinder turbocharged engine that's, sounds very much like the old school Quattro. But yeah, that's RS4, please, for me. Sonoma Green. That'll do. Thank you very much. Pan roof, obviously. Right. Next questions. From Stormski Warrior. We're all going to beat the coronavirus. Well, yeah, let's hope so. Let's really hope so. I think it's I don't want to go back into that, but I think we all need to stay positive, keep each other sane if we can. I'm going to try and do one of these every week, actually. So yeah, let's try and beat the coronavirus by behaving ourselves, and we'll get rewarded at the end. It's like being a little child again, getting sent to your room, and it's a bit longer this time. But anyway, right, we're gonna wrap this up. A few more questions, and then I'm gonna call it a night, because I've been talking for exactly an hour, and the support and everything and the questions have been amazing. Okay, so let's have a look. James Green, Joe, I'm scared of rear-wheel drive. Change my mind. Well, I think if you're saying that sort of 15 years ago, where cars like, was it 15 years ago? Yeah, 20 years ago, cars like E36, BMWs, whether it was a 328i or M3, I think most of them didn't have any kind of traction control, nothing at all. And the tyre technology back then was poor compared to today. So yes, if you lived in colder climates or wetter climates like we do, and you had one of those cars, then you could be scared of rear-wheel drive, because they could bite you in the arse. And that's not to say that a modern car wouldn't as well. F80 series M3s, especially the early ones, have caused a lot of accidents over the years, have killed a lot of people. But most of the time it's people that are just, how can you summarize them? They're a bit like, I don't know, a bit like a tame lion. So, you treat the tame lion nice, and it treats you back nice, and you can have a bit of, take it out for a walk. But if you rowl it up enough and you treat it bad enough, that tame lion is still a lion. But that's a really bad analogy, but I guess it's kind of good as well. Traction control devices these days are amazing. If I get my M2 and it's 2 degrees outside and I've got summer tires on, and I leave all of the traction control devices on, I could go out and be the most heavy-footed person on the planet, and it's not going to swap ends. It's not. With everything on, it just is going to kill the power and keep me safe. It's only when you start reducing those that the car becomes more and more dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, it's a difficult one. I love rear-wheel drive cars. I love driver's cars. I love the feeling of the car moving around underneath you under throttle, under load. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But then a nice X-Drive setup, or some of the Quattros, that RS4, the new RS6, the older C7 RS6, they move around under acceleration in slippery conditions, so they still give you a similar sensation. So yeah, I don't know. Don't be scared of rear-wheel drive. Just treat them nicely. Don't mess with them. Don't antagonize them too much. Just learn to go to a track day, or there's not enough of these sort of driver training days where you can actually learn and understand how a car handles, because I wish there were. I wish there was more of them, because it's those days or those hours, those intensive times, that you learn a lot about rear-wheel drive cars. Anyway, moving on. Right, what do we got? What have I missed? So, E-Rider live stream every week, Joe. I will. I think definitely. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I might even do a couple a week because, well, they're easy for me to shoot and they're great interaction with everyone. It's really nice to actually be talking to as many people as possible. From Mahal M, is it Mahal? What do you think about the Audi, BMW, and Mercedes? What are the differences in driving? Good question. I think people are going to say I'm biased, but I think BMW is still some BMWs, not all, some of the new ones, obviously, but still the core BMW is still usually the more of the ultimate driving machine. But saying that, you know, the RS4. Some of the Audis, some of the Mercs, like the C63s. Obviously, the Mercedes have got their supercars as well, like the GTRs. Audi, you've got the R8. It's really hard to say. I think at a lower price point, at the lowest price point, I think like the A35 is the best driver's car out there from what I've tried recently. Then the M2 competition in the mid price point, and the M cars, the M3 and the M4. And then as you get up into the bigger cars, it's hard to say. Yeah, I think they're all very different, but they all have their plus and minus points. So yeah, it's interesting. I honestly, although I do nothing with Mercedes, I have massive respect for them, and as I talked about earlier on in this video, I think Mercedes AMG engines are the best out of the lot of them, yeah, it's nice. It is good because they all offer very different packages for similar price points. So and I think it's good. It's great that Audi have Mercedes and BMW have the other two, because they do push each other year on year. Because you think if it was just one manufacturer, one of the Germans, they wouldn't be as fierce to try and beat the others, because that's what they're essentially trying to do. So it's great. It's really good. Kameen Garrison, I'm unsubscribing. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. That's I must have said something that offended you. Thanks for subscribing, and enjoy your unsubscribing future. Charles L. Hi Joe. What would you buy, an RS6 or an M5 competition? Oh, I do get asked this a lot. Understandably. I haven't driven an RS6 or an RS7 for that matter on summer tyres. They are massively impressive cars, and on winters they do things that they just shouldn't do. So I can only imagine what they feel like on summer tyres. And I know some of you might be thinking, oh, you always talk about tyres, but honestly, a summer tyre and a winter tyre on dry tarmac is massively different. It's like an F1 car going out to do a qualifying lap in the dry on wet tyres. Oh, sorry, the dog's just coming. So yeah, until I've driven a new R6 on summer tyres, I'm not gonna say. My thoughts, though, my initial thoughts would be that the M5 competition is still the better driver's car, and the RS6 is probably still the better all-round package thing to live with. But I'm going to reserve my judgment till I've tried. Car Mad Dad in the house, another good YouTube channel, Car Mad Dad. Check him out, guys. What does he ask me? Joe, what's some of your favourite things to watch beyond the usual YouTube channels? And any other recommendations? I did shoot a video the other day, mate, that I did talk about a lot of other YouTubers, aviation stuff that I watch, mountain bike channels, motorbike stuff. So yeah, mostly on there really. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Nick Murray, Kiwi that lives in America. I love Misha out at the Nürburgring, and Robert, who runs Apex. All those guys. I mean, there's loads. I should do another video about other YouTubers that I watch, but yeah, there's loads. And I feel really bad because I didn't mention Raz the other day in my video, removed before race. I think his stuff is just, I mean, Steph's editing's up here, but Raz's is just like, Raz is just I just, how he does that. I mean, it's Hollywood stuff. You know, it's worth it. Even if you blocked your ears and didn't listen to what he was saying, the visuals are just like ridiculous. Okay, let's have a look. This is it. Last couple of questions, because I'm definitely going to go. Wow, the questions are flying in now. I've said that. Oh my God. Okay, let's try and stay on top of this. Okay, let's... Okay, from Kevin McG. Kevin McG in the house. You sound like a rapper. Maybe it's just the way I said it after a glass of wine. Hey Joe, of the mods to your M2C, which one would you recommend if the budget could only stretch to one? All the best, Kevin. Very good question, Kevin. I've lost your question now, but I've read it anyway. It's hard to say. I think it's hard to, you know, I think there's some very exotic options, extras, not options, add-ons that I've done to the car that the majority of you could live without, but once you've had it, you couldn't. But I think the most important upgrade to me on the M2 competition is getting a bit more sound out of it, because it's so quiet out of the box. So to me, the Remus back box is probably the most important and valuable upgrade that I've done to the car. But otherwise, I mean, it's hard to say. The MSS springs that I had fitted recently are unbelievable. I haven't driven the car enough. I've probably driven it 4 times since I've had them fitted. And every time I drive it, I'm like, wow, this car is incredible. Like, I know they're only springs, and a lot of people go, oh, well, they're only springs, you should have gone for full coil. But the thing is, there is still a price difference between a full coil overset, and also the dampers that are in the M2 competition are good dampers, but I think the stock springs just don't allow them to work, because now I put these springs on, the car works so well. There's a bit of negative travel, a bit of sag, if you like, which there wasn't so much on the stock M2. So suddenly a car on stock shocks, even though they're not adjustable in the M2, it just works so well. So I think they're a very good upgrade. The exhaust, and I think the luxury ones, I mean, the eVenturi intake is next level. Beautiful to look at, and just, you know, and in terms of pickup and actual performance, a bit like when you get your ECU remapped, you only appreciate it when you jump in a normal stock car and realize and feel the difference in pickup. So yeah, my long answer to that is, I don't know, I want all of them. And obviously then you got your cosmetic things like, you know, just little things like the wing blade fender things from Jack at Auto ID. I've actually just ordered something else from him, so that'll be coming very soon. That'll be a video. But yeah, so let's see. And I've got, also I'm going to be doing a review of my 7 Series very soon. Obviously I can't drive it, but I've thought of a way around it, so that's going to be a bit of a comedy one. Guys, I'm going to wrap up because I've been on here nearly an hour and 15 minutes, but I've just seen from Man Like Nick, can we get a full car history from you? Man Like Nick, I'm going to do a video on that actually separately, so stay tuned. Anything else? From James Boy. Hi Joe, when are you going to take one of these press cars to the Isle of Man? Well, James, that's a very good question. And Patrick, becoming Patrick, he's not becoming Patrick, he's Patrick Films, and I actually attempted, we're that close to taking one to the Isle of Man at the end of last year, the M135i video that I shot in Wales in the end, and it was bad weather and the ferries got cancelled, so we didn't. But I will, that's on my list, that's on my post-COVID-19 list that grows bigger and bigger every day. So yes, I will be doing that. Before I finish, guys, I just want to once again say a massive thanks to everyone for joining in, for watching this conversation. I still find it bizarre that people tune in to watch this idiot, but you do, so thank you very much. Nick, thank you so much for your massive generation. Kevin, you too, and obviously everyone else that has donated. I really, yeah, as I say, I'm actually quite shocked as to that happening. I had seen it happen on other people's live chats before, but I wasn't expecting it at all. So thank you very much. And I hope I can continue to entertain everyone through these difficult times. Guys, take it easy. Please stay safe. Stay at home. Behave yourselves. I know I sound like a teacher, but let's just behave. I want to go out and, you know, it's getting dark. I can go out for a rally drop. No, you know, we're gonna enjoy it so much more when we can go and do things normally. I mean, it's just going to be great. It's going to be like being let out of, not prison, because that's a bit harsh, but you know, we're going to have freedom again, and we're going to appreciate the world for what it is. So let's just stay safe, big up yourselves, and thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Probably going to have to try and turn this off now, so there'll be a bit of a pause. It's not going to be as slick as I want it to be. Let's put my laptop down there. And obviously, if you're right at the end of the video and you've missed some of it or lots of it, I think you'll be able to watch it back on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Well, it's not pretty cool, but it's all right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to de-mic, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.